Teachers, wondering why your students are sounding more like this? Well, enough with the old tradition of books and chalk writing. It's the 21st century, and technology has kicked in, which means you need to make a difference in your classroom teaching.
As for this video, I will be discussing the two great e-learning resources selected from the website Scootle.
In this first activity, Types of Matter, Elements and Compounds, is based for a science class at Stage 4, which is linked to the science curriculum shown below. This task helps students to differentiate and become familiar with the terms, elements and compounds. In this activity, students view substances at an atomic level that enables them to see the particle arrangement and movement. They are then to classify the objects observed as elements or compounds. The activity is composed of two parts and gives clear instructions and steps with theory for learners to activate their prior knowledge and proceed to the next step. In the process of the activity, students need to have classified all of the objects before moving on to the next step, involving some trial and error with feedback. The results are then collected in a table that they can then reflect back on and complete further questions with. In the second part, it gives a summary of what elements and compounds are, and the students are then tested on what they have learned, again using different items to classify. However, this time, students are unable to go back like in the first part, so it's basically like a test that challenges the students but allows them to work at their own pace. The feature of observing particles at an atomic level gives the students an opportunity to experience an observation of substances at an atomic level that a school microscope is incapable of doing. I can also say this is a goal-oriented activity, as students need to have completed the first step correctly in order to move on to the next step. This e-learning resource helps learners to integrate their new experience by activating their prior knowledge about the world. The use of real-life visuals such as sugar and water in an outdoor setting environment enables students to relate theory to real-world context, making this activity authentic, which supports Jonathan's meaningful learning characteristics. This activity is constructive in a way where it gives an opportunity for the students to articulate what they have accomplished. At the end of this task, the students have an option to print off a summary sheet that they can then keep a copy of in their books to reflect back on when in need. For this second e-learning resource, PH Knots and Crosses is a game-based activity designed for a Stage 4 Year 8 class, linked to the science curriculum shown below. And it can also be used for higher stages. It is a cooperative game where it involves students to work collaboratively in pairs, challenging one another. It also challenges students in their higher thinking and problem solving. The game has clear instructions on how to play it with a Show Me option for visual instructions and Skip option to navigate immediately to the game. The player first picks an empty square, just like the true game of Knots and Crosses, and is given a pH value that the player needs to match onto the correct substance to claim that square. This fosters an active learning setting for the learner as they manipulate through the items for the correct one. The visual use of the everyday household substances allows the learners to link ideas and relate to the real-world context, making it authentic and meaningful learning. A pH scale is given to the players to view at all times. The students then have to use their prior knowledge and description given to choose the correct substance from. This emphasizes the constructive component of Jonathan's characteristics of meaningful learning, where learners integrate their new experience in the game using their prior knowledge. If the selected substance is wrong, it gives the player a clue to make the right choice. If the player gets it wrong 3 times in a row, the turn moves on to the next player. The ultimate intention in this game is to get 3 crosses or O's in a row. Both e-resources fit on the substitution of the SEMI model, as they don't have additional functional improvements or modification options. Similarly,
Both support visual learning but do not cater for auditory learners as they lack sounds. They are well structured for the students to use and enable them to use within their own pace. By evaluating both e-resources, they were both found to be interactive, engaging, fostering meaningful learning.